Welcome to the chat on how to thrive in your business now, how to thrive in your business in this ever-changing climate, how to thrive in your business through a moment of quarantine or through being home, how to thrive in your business through the uncertainty. Many of you have written in. Nicoletta wrote in and said, this crisis has made me understand that there are so many people out there who need my gifts and expertise. Nicoletta, exactly. This is a wake-up call for all of us, right? Priscilla wrote in and said, I'm helping women entrepreneurs sell, but we're selling in a complicated business climate. And so I really want to speak into that. I want to get you some tools to shift your mindset, move your energy into the energy of leadership, committed, positive expansion, because that's really what's possible. Katia wrote in and said, greetings from Spain. We have been in a complete lockdown. And Sandy also, she's been suddenly thrust into the spotlight as an expert in trauma and childhood anxiety. And to show up in service during this time has been, an incredible stretch. Margaret from Melbourne, Australia, next level of restrictions started today. So we are sending massive love. Like, let's just take a breath together, the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood, and send our love out all over the globe. Over the last week, I've literally been on the phone with a group of thought leaders, including Eben Pagan and Marie Forleo and Jeff Walker and Ocean Robbins and Clara Zammit. And it's like we're all getting together and sharing. I was able to share what we did to pivot our live event from 700 people in the room to 1,800 people on a live stream. We had the most successful virtual event we've ever had. Many people in our situation would have said, oh my God, my event just got canceled. This is going to be a major downturn for our business. And, I gathered my team and we're like, okay, we're not going to focus on what's not going to happen for very long. We're going to feel the feels. And then we're going to ask ourselves, what is going to happen no matter what, right? And what is going to happen no matter what is we're going to serve women entrepreneurs at this time in history. And over 60 of you, just in the last few days, have already jumped into our year-long programs and said a full-hearted yes. Yes, I'm doing this. Yes, I know my time is now. Yes, this circumstance is actually making me realize I'm more committed rather than less committed. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening out there. And I'll just share some thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. I really feel like we've been kind of adolescents on the planet, don't you? I mean, don't you feel like this is just our growing up moment, right? Like time to graduate into adulthood, into stewards of the planet. And, I think as I'm sending out big prayers to those of you who have been affected by this, who have somebody you love who has lost their job, who have been up against, some pretty big obstacles, just so much love to you. And through that love, let's just keep orienting to what do we do now? How do we find our clients now? How do we keep serving now? So this is the biggest moment really since the war in the 1940s. I mean, this is our moment. We are making history. This is the biggest thing that's happened to the planet, in many, many decades. And what we do now will really imprint on people 5 to 10 times more than it would have a couple of weeks ago. Because now is the moment when everybody's attention is sort of pristine. We have this moment to capture the pristine attention that people are giving, right? If people are home, people are online, right? We know that humans don't love being home alone. Most humans don't love being home alone. I know some of you probably do. But what we do now is actually going to be that much more effective, that much more, we're going to be able to have that much more impact with every action we take right now. So why would we wait? Why would we wait, right? Now's the time. And nobody ever could have imagined, most of us really couldn't have imagined this happening, but what's cool is that humanity is kind of united against a common enemy. And what I actually love about this is it's not war, you know, it's a virus. It's something that it's not a natural disaster. It's actually something that we're all sort of united against, and it's kind of affecting us all. It's leveling the playing field a little bit. And in response to that, I can almost feel, right? Like many of you have been talking about the coronavirus means crown, right? It's like our spiritual centers are opening. Many of you have been talking about the corona shift in consciousness, like that there's actually something much bigger happening here around a shift in consciousness. So there's also speculation that humanity is kind of crawling into a metaphorical chrysalis, like a global chrysalis. And what happens in the chrysalis so that humanity can come out and be like a more sophisticated, more grounded, more streamlined, more elegant, more expansive, energy within that of the butterfly. Like what happens in the chrysalis is that we turn to mush, like we let go of things that weren't working before. Like I sort of feel like the opportunity for me has become like I've becoming that much more just who I am, like that much more authentic, real, in the moment, like dropping the guard. I was online, live, face to camera, like 6 hours a day, every single day during the moment when this thing hit, with 1,000 eyeballs on me, because we pivoted within 24 hours and turned our live event virtual. And it was, for me personally, like this metamorphosis into, I didn't have time to prepare everything for the virtual event. How you run a live event is very different than how you run a virtual event. And so it was like this willingness to just drop the wall and just be who I am. And we had extraordinary results. And I invite you to really ask yourself and to feel that transmission of, what if now was just the opportunity for you to step fully into just the authentic version of you on camera, the authentic version of you in your writing, in your posts, the authentic version of you with your clients and your leadership, in your one-on-one conversations that you may be using to make people offers, right? Complimentary sessions, breakthrough sessions, discovery sessions. I mean, people need your support now more than ever. Did you know that inside the chrysalis, this is fascinating. This totally blew my mind when I learned it. When scientists stick sound sensors into a chrysalis, they were expecting like a low rumble and like louder and louder and louder sounds up until the butterfly is now erupting, loudest sound ever. That is not what happened. So scientists put these sound sensors into the chrysalis, and here's what they heard. Big rumbles, like, ah, and then silence. And then big rumbles, like, ah, and then silence. And to me, like when I learned that, I thought to myself, that's true transformation. Like that's how transformation has worked for me during my darkest, dark night of the soul moments of my life. I've been a wet, hot mess, like screaming, crying, raging on the floor. And then once I let the feelings move through, it's like, okay, I'm going to be okay. Keep going. And then another wave of grief hits, right? And then let the feelings move through. And I think I want to put a stake in the ground for you and I, and for all of the women leaders of the planet right now, to be letting the feelings move through, to feel the feels as the way through this stressful time. Feel the feels and get the support. Do the sort of conscious dumping with your friends, the venting, the emoting, and then find that one, right? Once that energy has kind of raged through, find that still small place inside of you that knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, like this is what you're here for. This is what you came in for. Do you have any idea how many coping skills you have? The meditation practices that this community, I know, usually reaches for. I've been meditating every morning, right? The breath practices, the mindset practices, the affirmations, Like, we as a community have so many more coping skills than most people out there. And so now more than ever, we're needed. We are needed. If you've been feeling afraid, like, no worries. Like, that's a part of this. And to stop thinking about the fear as either good or bad. Like, fear is just fear. We can use fear to get into action. We can use it to catalyze us into that which we know we're here to do. We can also use it to contract and feel small. And so what I've learned is that fear actually runs through the same neural pathway in the brain as courage. And so literally saddled right up next to your fear is your courage. And so there's just like this 1 degree shift when we feel those physiological sensations, whatever that feels like for you. For me, it's like butterfly in my stomach, tightness in my throat. One of my friends says, don't try to get those butterflies to go away. Like, they're there for a reason. Like, give them the opportunity to fly in formation toward the impact, the bold action, the bold, imperfect, sloppy action that you're going to take next. Because that's what it's about. It's about sloppy action. It's not about doing this perfectly. I was telling one of my clients this morning, it's like, she's like, oh, but I don't have a video crew and I don't have this and I don't have that. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, get behind your computer and say what you know right now, because that's what matters more than anything. Like, to stop waiting for certain things to be intact. Like, just get out there and do it, right? Because the most important thing right now for you is to actually stay on purpose, to stay lit up. The most important thing for you is that the more you can stay in your strength and your center, protect your clear head. We need you with a clear mind right now, making sound decisions. Now, that being said, have I had moments in the last week since my biggest event of my whole career got canceled? Like, yeah, I've had a few really dark moments of, okay, so how do I pivot? Now, what do I do again? Now, there's a whole laundry list of decisions that need to be made in order to pull off this next piece of my business. When I wasn't able to make that decision, I called somebody up that I knew would probably make a better decision than I could in that moment. It's kind of like we're moving from a time of me to a time of we. The 60s were like this time of we, like, the flower children in the street dancing together. My mom was one of them, and I'm so proud of that, right? And then, like, since then, we've been gradually moving into like me, bigger, better, faster, stronger, materialistic. And we can feel that now we need each other more than ever. I don't think it's about social distancing right now. I think it's about physical distancing, social intimacy. So whenever you hear that phrase, if it lands strange in you, social distancing, like, just substitute in your mind physical distancing, social intimacy. We need each other. I've used some of my friends' brains more in the last week than ever in my life because they get it. They're like, oh, what do you need? How can I help you think through this? When we can actually use the collective mind, lean into each other when we need to, we can be so much stronger. So what's true, I really believe, is that you're living your Shiro's journey right now. And what I know is that when stuff like this goes on in the external world, the ego is going to reel, right? And spin out and try to get control of it. And that's a big part of what causes the fear. But even in the middle of all of that, you still have a choice. You still have choices. You still have resources. You still have choices. And you get to decide who you want to be in the face of all of this. One of the beloved head trainers here at Women Rocking Business, Serena Andrea, pointed out to me, she's like, this is kind of like a global act of kindness to protect our healthcare systems. Like, of course, we're going to protect those who are at risk of actually having this thing, be fatal by staying inside so that we can get this thing under control, so that we can protect those who really need us to protect them. And if we can breathe into the compassion, the collective compassion that we're all having by choosing to do the right thing globally, it's like that opportunity to become a part of the rising energy of this, rather than the frustration or the fear that can take us out, right? So let's talk about strategically how to really pivot your message right now, how to bring the message that people need the most without exploiting what's happening, right? Because yes, like people are stuck in their homes and there's a virus going around the world, but we want to find this balance between giving the thing that we know is ours to give and linking it back, tying it back to people who need it the most during this uncertain time without a lot of like exploitation, right? An example of exploitation is I've seen like everybody and their grandmother be like, oh, let me teach you about how to launch an online course, right? And you start digging more deeply, $97. You can make millions online with an online course. You start digging a little deeper and it's like, I don't think a $97 course on how to launch my product is really going to help me right now. Like to build a business, it's not the quick fix, like let's not look for the shortcut or the bright and shiny sort of quick fix way out of this. Let's bring a deeper wisdom to the table by actually, pivoting your message enough to make sure that you can get people's attention right now, people who are going to need your help. I want to really encourage you not to hesitate or not to feel shame around selling in this climate. That's so important. Do not feel guilty about selling in this climate, because there will be leaders leading humanity through this. There will be many of them, and they will be offering their services, and they will be, enrolling people in their programs, because we know that when people pay, they pay attention. And so there will be people leading people, and there will be leaders saying yes to doing business in this time. And the only question is, will you be among them? Right? Will you be among them? And I hope that the answer to that question is yes, like a wholehearted yes. Because like I said at the beginning, you don't realize how many skills, it's like the water we swim in of conscious conversation, supporting each other, collaboration, consciousness, exploration spiritually. Those waters that we swim in, not everybody has been swimming in those waters. And so it's just like I get goosebumps. We've been preparing for this. We've been preparing for this. So we're helping a lot of our clients pivot their messages. Like I said, I just did a 3-day, 6-part video training on how to find your clients online during uncertain times. And we're actually opening up access to all 6 video trainings this weekend with live coaching from my coaches. I'm going to be hopping on to do a Q&A call. So if you want access to that, the link is right here in the comments of this video. But strategically, we've been helping a lot of our clients pivot, to really start to adapt your message to what's needed now. And this does not mean that you throw out your brand and just start over, right? I'm not throwing out Women Rocking Business and, I'm not rebranding myself like Corona-proof business, right? No, but what is true is that you have an opportunity to bring some of your top marketing. And when I talk about top marketing, what I mean is your free gifts, your lead magnets, the titles of your videos, the top marketing, the titles of your blog articles, the subject lines. Your top marketing is not something you can give away. You can't give it away to somebody else. I have some of the most incredible copywriters ever who have worked for us at Women Rocking Business, but I oftentimes know what the subject line of something should be. Like, I just know because I'm tapped into my tribe. I am the face of the brand. You are the face of your brand. And so to match what's happening right now in the world with your top marketing titles is really important. So here's an example. One of my clients who has been focusing on helping people with emotional eating habits, helping people avoid their sugar cravings. She's got some top marketing, some video titles and free gifts and things like that happening right now around don't gain weight in the quarantine, like how not to put an extra 20 pounds on just because you're quarantined, right? And she's getting a ton of momentum with that. She's getting just a ton of traction with that message. She's not totally reinventing her brand. She's just saying the thing that she knows people need to hear right now. Another one of my clients, we just talked about, how to cope with kids in quarantine. How do you cope with kids during the quarantine? I mean, hello, that's like a huge and very important topic right now. One of my clients who's supporting single women is now focusing on, what do you do if you're dating during a time of quarantine? Like, that's an important question for single women, right? So instead of reinventing yourself, I invite you to brainstorm and, what is your more relevant message? What is a relevant version of your message right now? And because this is what we want to do with the wisdom inside of us when we ask ourselves the question, who do I have to be? And what can I say that's going to make the biggest difference now? It's you. It's you being out there making a difference. Thank you all for being the very best part of Women Rocking Business. And thank you for being brave enough to walk yourselves and your families and your friends and your clients and your future clients, and especially your future clients and your kids and your future clients, those who are waiting for you right now. Like, they're literally out there waiting for you right now. Thank you for being brave enough to be the leader that you came in to be at this time in history, because we were made for such a time as this. Be brave, and let's be the women leaders who can walk the world through such crazy times. Get our feet on the earth, shine our hearts out to those who are watching, and be the ones to make the difference that's so needed in the world right now. Stop asking for the change and just be the change. We love you. You're amazing. Mwah. And if you got value from this episode, the first step is to subscribe to my channel so I can support you every week to create more income and impact in your business the women's way. Just hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to head over to the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook page to get more support, because remember, we as women can go so much further when we all go together.